Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, and right now I will be sharing my thoughts on the Amazon Prime Video release Naradan, which stars Tovino in the lead role and is directed by Aashiq. This movie deals with a narcissistic TV news anchor Chandra Prakash or CP, who is desperate to prove his worth to the world. CP wants to live his life like a king, and for that he is ready to go till any extent. The movie also depicts the current state of TV news channels who have nowadays resorted to create sensation, trigger the viewers and pass judgments and opinions rather than actual news reporting. It shows something called as yellow journalism, where the news is presented and curated in a way that is more clickbaity and controversial in its headlines, but the actual news barely holds any legitimacy. The trailer had actually impressed me a lot because we as citizens know that this problem exists in our country, and I was really happy that Aashiq actually picked up such a topic and made a movie around it. But in the overall context of storytelling and impact creation, does it land perfectly and works for me as a viewer? Partly, and I'll explain why. I want to first start by talking about the character sketch of the protagonist as well as Tovino's performance as CP. CP is portrayed as a capable guy to us who gets pushed over the edge that results in him slowly displaying behavior of a sociopath. Just by seeing this character's journey as a viewer, either I should feel hatred for the guy or I should feel hatred for the circumstances or the society that eventually made him like this. I did feel some negative emotion for CP, but nothing too intense, and it is probably because, and it breaks my heart to say this, it is probably because how Tovino portrayed the character. And this is the last thing that I thought I would say about Tovino's performance, because I love him so much as an actor. After watching the trailer, I was so confident that portraying this character would be a cakewalk for Tovino, and my reference point to make such a conclusion was Kala. How beautifully he had portrayed that animalistic instinct of a human being in Kala. So I was very confident that as a narcissistic TV news reporter, he's gonna kill it. But unfortunately it did not. It just, once again, it really breaks my heart to even admit this to myself. I did not feel that he was the character. I could just see, yeah, he's playing a character called CP, and that's honestly so rare for me to feel for an actor like Tovino. Initially when the movie started, I was still connected to him when he was being pushed over and triggered again and again, but he was not able to convince me fully as the narcissistic TV news anchor. One of the reasons which I feel personally is also how the montage of his transformation was treated. I don't think it was executed on screen properly, because it did not look believable enough to me that yes, he's going actually through a transformative stage where his brain is changing, his outlook is changing, his thinking is changing, and he is becoming the self-centered person. Rest of the characters in the film, like that of Annabelle, who plays the lawyer, I actually enjoyed her performance in this movie. She was quite good and I liked her dialogue delivery as well. Indrans was my favorite in this film. He just has a cameo, but overall his character as the judge was clearly the most impactful out of everybody. Besides his character, none of them could really create an impact. The story overall is good, but it is actually the character sketch that fails to really generate any kind of emotion. Now, just about the story independently, I liked the portrayal of yellow journalism. How a little spark can actually start a fire and cause absolute chaos. The sequence of events and their consequences was written quite well. It's almost like a mirror being shown to us that how we tend to believe anything and everything if portrayed or packaged as a sensational story. Now, when it comes to the direction, I would say Aashiq took a unique approach, which I was not expecting, in the sense that the movie is about yellow journalism and the main character is a big-time narcissist. So you would think that it will, be a little bit loud and over the top in portrayal of its characters and even the scenes. But that was not the case. The director tried to sort of maintain a balance between that sensationalism and keeping the story and narration grounded and real. Almost reminded me of the movie Trance, where in the first half and the second half, the main character feels like two completely different people. But though I would say that in Trance, the execution was much better. You will be able to sense that the movie is trying to create this balance of being realistic and also give it a commercial, massy appeal through the background score and cinematography as well. Specifically, the cinematography cinematography and color grading, where CP is actually running his own news channel, you would see the colors are popping out a lot. In other frames, the tones are very, subdued and mellow to give it that realistic kind of frame and a gloomy kind of feeling. The music overall works for me, and specifically there's one rap song in between. That was a nice song. Now lastly, another thing which stands out as a little bit of a sore thumb is the edit. The movie starts off really strong, but there would be bits and pieces where, as a viewer, at least personally for me, I felt that the scenes were dragging a lot. Also, I'm really interested to know from you guys in the comments below that what was your reaction in the final climax sequence, the speech that Indrans give, because essentially that is the crux and the moral of the story. Because when I was watching that scene, this thing which came in my mind was, okay, for a lot of people it would sound so freaking preachy. It did to me till a certain extent, but then I thought, how else are you going to deliver this message to the audience? What different can you do in this scene? I would love to know your thoughts in the comments for that. So overall, just a one-time watch for me, nothing too great, and not even like the worst movie that I've ever seen. It's not like that. Somewhere in between, like strictly average, I would say. So yes, those were my overall thoughts on the film Naradan after I watched it. I definitely want to know your thoughts in the comments below. Loved it, did not like it at all, or you thought like, yeah, it's just about average and passable, it's good enough. So yes, with that I will end today's video, sharing your thoughts, and yeah, I'll see you soon on my next one. Bye.